Hello and welcome to another episode of Listen to Lisa. I'm KSN Storm Track 3 Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman and my special guest today, Meteorologist Lucy Dahl. We're going to be taking a look back at the month of November, where we stand right now in December, and where things are going. How are you doing, Lucy?
I'm good. How are you? You had a busy month in November.
It was really busy. We'll take a look at some of the public appearances that I had because I was all over the place. And I'm not finished just yet. I still have one more weather talk to give before the year concludes. And then it's going to be off many more school talks and other organizations that have asked our weather team to come out and speak about severe weather safety in 2026.
You had a lot of fun stuff too, though, not just weather talks. We'll get into it later, but a very fun month.
It was the Hayesville USD 261 Barn Bash. We also had the Cattle Barons Ball and a whole bunch of other things too. Friday, I was at Navster Park helping to light the Christmas tree and also to help in Santa Claus. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus got to come in on a fire truck.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so cool. It was so cool. And I think everybody had a great time. Yeah.
A retro fire truck or like a current?
No,
fire
current,
truck?
as in Wichita Fire Department.
That's cool.
It was really cool because they sounded the siren and you knew that Santa Claus was coming and everybody gave way. Next thing you know, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus comes up. And also I had a chance to talk with the Grinch, and Mrs. Claus had to speak for Santa Claus and say, yeah, he's on the naughty list, but I'm on the nice list. And I know you're on the nice list too.
Thanks. The reindeer must have had the day off then if the fire truck brought him in.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any snow.
That's true.
That's one of the problems we're faced with right now because our snowfall probabilities across the state have been relatively low. Northeastern Kansas last week saw a few inches of snowfall from about 3 to 5 inches of snow. But once you got closer to Salina, western Kansas, down toward the Wichita area, the snowfall was not that much. We've only had about a trace to about 0.02 of an inch of snowfall here in the Wichita area, so it has not been that much.
Pitiful.
No, it's not. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've been looking at for the month of November, recapping our warmest days. We actually had 2 days, November 15th and 17th, that it was 77 degrees. Our coldest temperature, 20 degrees on November 30th, and the highest daily rainfall, 1.02 inches, fell on November 20th, and our rainfall that we had for the month of November was actually above average.
It was, and just barely above average, if I remember correctly. It was about 1.3 was our average for this time of year, or for the month of November. But we've been lagging for most of December so far. It has been a dry month.
One thing that we have not been lacking in is the cold air intrusions. Here's the deal. We actually are in a weather pattern where we're going to continue to have these cold blasts. Coming up this Wednesday evening on KSN News at 10, I'm going to take a look at our winter weather outlook. We've all had our hands on how much snowfall we're thinking we're going to see, and also a look at our weather pattern, because the weather pattern right now is critical. It's known as northwesterly flow. If you get more of a northwesterly flow in summertime, you'll get these individual disturbances that will move by. Meteorologists in summertime get a little aggravated with northwesterly flow.
Aggravated is an understatement, but yeah.
Because it keeps us here overnights, because a lot of times we'll have severe weather that will continue overnight into the following morning.
Yeah, those nights where you fall asleep and it's those nice thunderstorms rolling in while you're heading off to bed, they're great for everyone else, but for us, we're still here. But that's the kind of pattern that we're talking about.
And this is also a drier pattern for us too in the winter time. This is also shaping up for La Nina, because La Nina is the dominant weather pattern that is ongoing. It's our ENSO pattern. You could have La Nina, you can have El Nino, or you could have a neutral phase. And we're looking at staying in La Nina, but then starting to go over toward a neutral phase in the second half of winter.
Yay.
Yay, because maybe that'll open up the door for us and we'll see a little bit more moisture. But make sure you tune in Wednesday night on KSN News 3 at 10 o'clock. We'll go through your winter weather outlook. And I'm also having the weather crew help me out on this one. In years past, I've done a lot of the research and everything, and I'll talk to each one of you and see, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because we're a team when it comes to our forecast. It's not just one person. It is everybody who has a hand in our weather forecast from morning to noon to night, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, and 7 days in that week. You look back at our high temperatures that we had today, certainly a state divided, colder in the east, warmer in the west. Cloud cover impacted this today.
Yes.
Cloud cover, of course, being an issue with us, but now the clouds started to break up in the west, which is why Elkhart was able to make it into the 30s, or in the 50s rather, and the 30s underneath the core of where we have this Arctic air, but also some of the coldest temperatures under the clouds. 30 degrees in Manhattan, not even making it to freezing today.
I hope those students are already maybe on their break or inside studying, because the thought of walking around campus, K-State in Manhattan with 30-degree highs,
Yeah.
that does not sound fun. I mean, I didn't even enjoy walking my dog today. It was too chilly for us, but
One of the students that we've been mentoring, who is in the meteorology program at KU, didn't like having to go up and down all the hills. If you've ever been to Lawrence and you've ever been to KU's campus, you know the hills that they have. And they had to walk through, 3 to 5 inches of snowfall.
I forgot
Yeah,
that.
they had
He
the
was
snow.
during the school season.
Yep. So they had their Thanksgiving break. Then they came back, which I didn't realize that the week right after Thanksgiving break is, as a Mizzou alum, you call that dead week. And also
Mizzou only
Aiden
has-
calls it dead week.
Mizzou only has dead day, so we have
Dead day,
We
okay.
had the last Friday is a day where there's no class. A lot of professors in the meteorology department at Mizzou, though, will do their finals during that week, so you have the whole week of Thanksgiving to study, and then you can take those finals and then focus on your other finals.
Okay.
When you get into finals week.
Because I know Aiden's been busy studying for his finals. And I had a chance to speak to the KU AMS group last Monday. We did a Zoom because of the snow. Of course, I couldn't travel
All the way to
from here
Lawrence.
to Lawrence for the meeting, so we decided to do it on Zoom. And we had a small gathering, maybe 7 or 8 students, many of which are at various stages in their academic career. Some are freshmen, some are juniors, some were seniors. And I had a chance to talk with each of them about what they were thinking, where they were going to go, and how to go about doing it. Because you don't want to be that junior or that senior in college and being like, well, what am I going to do? Well, you're getting pretty close to graduating. You need to decide which avenue of meteorology are you going to go in. So we talked about the private sector, the research, we talked about the National Weather Service, and then, of course, the broadcasting side of it, which Lucy and I are both part of.
Yes. That's really cool, though. That smaller group made it more personal, I'm sure.
We had about an hour and a half conversation last Monday night after all of the
Wow,
snows.
I would have loved to have that in college, just someone to tell me what to do when I graduate.
I would have too. Although I knew when I was 16 years old that I wanted to definitely do the broadcasting part of it. Looking at our lows tonight, we're going to be back into the deep freeze, teens, 20s. A little bit of wind chill could make it feel like the single digits to the teens for the overnight low, and also the feels like factor into Monday morning at the bus stop. And then highs for tomorrow. This is Kansas. This is what happens in northwesterly flow. You take that hit of the Arctic, and then temperatures can rebound in a big way.
It's that time of year where if you get a little bit sick every time the temperatures swing, like I do, start taking your vitamin C now.
I've been suffering from something over the last week. My husband got it first, and then I got it. And, my voice had been impacted by it and feeling like my chest was burning. But now I think I'm on the other side of it.
See, I woke up with a scratchy throat this morning, and I said, we're not doing this.
Nope.
Nope.
Take all that vitamin C. But of course, you could also get some, vitamin D by going outdoors. Tomorrow, we're going to have temperatures from the upper 40s, Wichita, Arc City, to the upper 50s, close to 60 degrees in Elkhart. If Elkhart can make the 50s today,
They can make the 60s.
they can make the 60s tomorrow. And if it's not tomorrow, it is certainly going to be Tuesday, because Tuesday is going to be our warmest day. One thing that we're lacking right now is moisture. We're going to have a slight chance by Wednesday. There's going to be a parade of cold fronts that will be moving through Wednesday, another one in a Friday. The one on Friday looks like it's going to be much, much stronger, but it's also starved for moisture. Once the winds become more westerly on Tuesday, one thing that we have to watch out for as the winds start to go down the Rocky Mountains, you have something that's known as a downslope flow. With winds picking up ahead of the next cold front, we may have heightened fire concerns during our peak heating hours.
Especially with how dry it's been. That could-
Plenty of dead vegetation,
plenty
too.
of it out there. Plus, just one little spark. And
That's all it
with
needs.
the winds like that, yeah.
And we're not seeing much hope in moisture. This is a look, and one thing I explained to Lucy, because you have all these little tricks of the trades when it comes to weather, and I worked under a chief meteorologist in Kansas City who lived by this rule. If you see a temperature difference of at least 10 degrees, the atmosphere is going to squeeze out something. It may be sprinkles, it may be showers, could it be a few flurries? it's going to try to precipitate. And this is why on Wednesday, we're going to go from the 60s over a large part of the region on Tuesday to more temperatures that are in the 50s. We're going to be back closer to average on Wednesday into Thursday before that next big hit of colder air starts to arrive by Friday through the following weekend. And our moisture so far for December, Lucy, it's been pitiful.
It's not been good. I mean, Goodland looks pretty good when you look across the board here. They're about average where they should be, but Wichita, Dodge City, not only are we trailing in the rainfall, we're also trailing in terms of how much snow we should be at. Dodge City should be closer to 3/4 of an inch by this time of the year. They have seen trace amounts of snow. Not only that, they've seen trace amounts of rainfall, so very dry in southwest Kansas.
We definitely need that moisture. One thing that I think we also need to watch out for is the drought monitor. We've seen the deeper drought in eastern Kansas. And with this northwesterly flow, I think we're going to continue to see the drought continue to spread back to the west. And in La Nina years, in La Nina winters, that tends to happen across the Kansas area because Kansas is always the wild card. When you look at the outlooks, they'll say an equal chance of precipitation or an equal chance of temperatures. What exactly does that mean? It just means that we're the wild card. All it takes is a minor fluctuation for things to change in a big way. Right now, the weather pattern with that northwesterly flow, you go several thousand feet up into the atmosphere, and the cold fronts, they keep coming one after another after another. But if you keep getting all these cold fronts, you're basically pushing any moisture that you've been able to gain out of the south away from you. So you try to gain it, you push it away, gain it, push it away. You're not building up that moisture. And you need a storm system to come through the desert southwest. Southern storm systems like to latch on to more of that moisture from the Gulf, from the Pacific that can be pushed in our way. But with this setup, with the mild high pressure system to the southwest, you get the slightest little twitch. You could either be on the cold side or you could be on the warmer side.
And that's definitely what we're going to be seeing here for the next week, for sure.
That's why we were cold today, and then we're going to be warm for tomorrow. You look at the next 7 days that we have for Wichita, south central Kansas. 60 is the peak on Tuesday. Partly cloudy skies, stronger winds. We're going to have a lot more wind this week than other weeks that we've had just because we're on that dividing line from the high to the southwest of us and the low to the northeast. With the pressure differences, as they get closer together, that's when they start to ramp up their winds. But I'm not seeing much moisture at all for the Wichita area over the next 5 to 7 days, maybe even for the next month. I know some of the models were looking a little bit better. Maybe as we get closer to Christmas, maybe the 19th looks a little bit more favorable for us to start experiencing some more moisture. But again, we just have to wait for the weather pattern to change. And everything does change. It just takes some time.
Yeah, and again, even the littlest twitch could have us be a bit colder or a bit warmer. So when we're getting into those patterns, the twitch of it coming in, that moisture coming in, could also lead to a larger change as we look towards the end of the month. So fingers crossed for some more snow, some more rain moving in.
And don't get me wrong, I love days when it's in the 60s. This is going to be the type of day on Tuesday that I think a lot of people are going to be outdoors and enjoying, because anytime you can get some of that thaw, oh yeah, you take advantage of it as much as you can.
Yeah, I need to get my leaves taken care of. I've been putting it off, but I think Tuesday might be the day that I get out there.
And the problem with the leaves is if you don't take care of them, then they can clog up your gutters.
Yes.
You know, you get them closer to the curb, and then it has problems with the flow of the water if you get a heavy type of rain event, which depending on temperatures and that, we're going to have to watch out for that.
Also, I'm sick of my dog dragging them inside.
What does she do? Tear them up when she comes inside?
She rolls in them, or I don't know how she gets them stuck to her, but she comes in and shakes, and the leaves, just the little bits of them.
Sometimes what'll happen with my dogs is that they will take a leaf, they'll bring it in, and then they'll rip it up into a million pieces, and then you're trying to collect every single one of them and then throw them away.
I thought you were going to say because they're shorter, they get stuck to their bellies.
No.
That happens to my cat sometimes when he goes outside. So
Little Athena, she likes to grab it and just tear things apart, especially with bugs.
Okay, Gertie does do that with bugs.
Oh,
Cicada season was not fun this year.
Yep, exactly right. They will go, they'll attack it, they'll hear it, and they'll go and they'll hunt, and then they'll bring it in, and then they'll literally rip them
They're
apart.
providing for you. They're bringing you in their catch.
Kind of like cats.
Oh, dog.
When it comes to the mice, and who knows what else dead things they may bring inside.
I've had chipmunks just this year birds,
Chipmunks?
squirrels, chipmunks, baby bunnies. All from Mongo, my cat. He likes to go out the doggy door. Usually he's just a porch kitty and he sits on my back porch. But this season, I don't know what it is. Maybe his elderly cat food is really doing something. I just switched him to the senior food.
Uh-huh. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing
He said,
good.
this is great. I'm going to go out there and catch a bunny. Man.
My dogs, when they would see a bunny, they've been trained now where they're like, oh, hey, Athena, Kayla, look. And Athena, as a pointer, she'll lift up her paw. So she lifts up her paw so you know she's on something. She'll run after it, but she will never catch it. She never does. And I'm glad that she doesn't, because was it a couple months ago? Gertie, your dog got out. You come home from work late at night.
I came home from driving around looking for her.
Yeah, because she was gone. She got out through a hole in your fence.
Yes, she did dig a hole.
And yet she manages to find her way home. And after you were looking all throughout the neighborhood on her, because you've got a little tracker on her,
Yeah.
she was waiting on the front porch with a special present for you.
I've never been more annoyed in my life.
Or more mortified.
Both. Her little AirTag kept pinging, and I was just driving around trying to call her. I had hot dogs in my car, yelling for her to come because she loves a hot dog. And then she pinged back at my house, and I said, oh, she went home. And I pull up, and sitting on my front porch, happy as could be, my little coonhound wiggling. And we're going to be... I was ready to just scream because hanging out of her mouth was the bottom half of a rabbit, which I know is her instinct and I know is what she's supposed to be doing, but not the best thing to find when we are heading home.
Yeah, definitely not. No. That was something that my mom and I were doing on September 11th of 2001. I'll never forget, because our black lab Bobby and our chocolate cocker spaniel had a habit of grabbing bunnies, and we had a batch of baby bunnies, and in order for them to survive, which nowadays I wouldn't have done what we did, but we thought in order for these baby bunnies to have success in life is to put them in a shoebox. Let's take them someplace safe, which we probably shouldn't have done, because mama comes back for those babies morning and night to feed them. So that was probably not a good decision on our end. But when you see your dog holding a baby bunny and then the little leg is flopping outside of their mouth, and a few baby bunnies have met their mortal demise, you want to try to give them the best chance. So our heart was in the right place. But yeah, that was the day. That's the memory that I have from September 11th of 2001.
Wow.
Getting into my car, turning on the radio and thinking that it was the War of the Worlds, and listening to Peter Jennings saying the World Trade Center as we know them is no more, while my mom is trying to save a life. So many lives were being taken that day. It was just, I'll never forget that's where we were.
What a weird parallel to have, though.
It was. So hopefully you don't have any issues with your animals going after the wildlife in your neighborhood.
Or the leaves. I don't even know how to go on this subject, but...
This is what happens a lot of times with us inside the Weather Center. We will just detour in one direction or another, but it's great because we're friends and we're also colleagues too.
Yeah, you let my ADHD run wild sometimes, and I call them ADHD detours. My mom does. She's like, "Okay, back on path." I'm like, "Oh yeah, here we go. Back to the forecast." What were we talking about earlier, even?
Oh, we were talking what today?
Yeah,
in the Weather Center.
We started with
Christmas. We talked a lot of stuff.
We started about Christmas music, and then we were Googling things, and then you said, wait, we have to do the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, because your boyfriend had texted trying to find something for Christmas for your brother. And so I came up with this idea and that idea. And so, yeah, that's how things
headed. And then we were shopping, and then, yeah.
And then we're like, okay, we're back on track.
Eventually.
Well, we've been tracking all across Kansas when it comes to different events, different places that we have been. And one of which in November was the Hayesville USD 261 Barn Bash. It was my honor to be invited back as the MC. The picture in the middle that you see was the silent auction items that everybody was looking at. The picture that is on the lower left, that is Tim Norton. Tim Norton was one of our county commissioners here in Sedgwick County, but before he became a county commissioner, he was the mayor of Hayesville. And he was the mayor at the time on May 3rd, 1999, when Hayesville was hit by a tornado, when it went right up the railroad tracks. And he quit his job as general manager of Target in order to be a full-time mayor, in order to put the town together. But 6 degrees of separation. So I've known Tim ever since the late 90s. And I know I'm probably dating myself here, but the Hayesville Educational Foundation started years after I graduated from Campus High in Hayesville. But before, in the early stages, Tim had created something called Meatballs with the Mayor. And it was a scholarship program. Literally, you would have meatballs with the mayor.
That sounds
you would
so
have
fun.
You would have a dinner, and it would be a spaghetti dinner, and the proceeds that were raised would go to scholarships. And I was one of the Meatballs with the Mayor scholars,
Aw.
which was pretty cool. And Tim has actually kept up to date with us, and he has kept in contact with all of the scholarship recipients.
His
because
meatballs.
Yep, I never even thought of it that way.
That's
His
what I
little
kept
meatballs.
thinking. His little meatballs.
And just to see how successful everyone has become, because we were an investment. That's what he was doing, investing in our futures. And I'll be forever thankful to Tim Norton, who was our mayor at the time, who had this scholarship program that I was able to use that to go to Wichita State and Mississippi State at the same time, getting 2 degrees to universities within 4 years. The other picture, that is Kelly Kennedy and his wife. Kelly has been a teacher at Campus High School. He is also with the Make-A-Wish program where they do the swimming. And he's still educating at the high school, and it dates back all the way to when I was in high school. So I remember Kelly Kennedy from a teacher when I was at Campus High. So always an honor to go back. Sarah Lopez, who was one of our county commissioners, she is now in part with this organization, and we had a successful year. We have been able to add more scholarships, more funds available for faculty and staff because of an even more successful year this year. So everybody, thank you so much for coming out. When we were looking through the pictures, because we want to show these pictures, I showed basically this was held at the Union Stockyards, which is on the far southwest side of Wichita off of MacArthur. And you were looking at this one photo and you're like, what is that? And I said, oh, that's Cow Patty Bingo.
Yeah, it was just a picture of 2 cows. And I said, were they just there?
And
Yeah.
I explained to Lucy what Cow Patty Bingo was. And Cow Patty Bingo can become quite entertaining, because if you have people that are out there that will put basically money down and say, okay, this is my square, and they will take and they'll do a grid system, and wherever the cow does its business,
Has a patty, makes a patty.
then basically you win, some money. And let's just say in years past, it's taken a little while for the cow to process things and to get things done. But this time, Cow Patty Bingo happened pretty quickly. And so it's always entertaining, because people will go out, they'll open up the doors on the south side, and people will go out and people will be screaming and hollering, go to the left, go to the right, go to the left. Anyway, it's always a great event. So if you're looking for something fun to do, you want to do your own Cow Patty Bingo and participate in it, make sure you head out to the Hayesville Barn Bash in 2026. Also, I was part of the Cattle Barons Ball. You've attended the Cattle Barons Ball in years past.
Time.
It is, and it's all a benefit for the American Cancer Society. This was our table here. Brenda, you see her side profile here, but she is one of our wonderful directors here at KSN. She directs the 6 and the 10 p.m. broadcasts, and she had some of her friends. I had some of my friends. My husband came. My friend Jeannie was here, and her friend Taylor. And then also the picture on the far right, that is Ms. Mary. She is our chief photojournalist at KSN, and her husband, Wayne. Or as other people in my dad's amateur radio group will call him, they know him as Gordon. But here at KSN, we know him as Wayne.
What?
So Gordon is his first name, but Wayne is his middle name.
I got
so
really
Mary,
confused. I
yeah,
said, that's
Mary,
Wayne. What are you talking about?
Mary calls him Wayne. So I've always called him Wayne, but my dad calls him Gordon. So they all came out. It's their date night. So
Yeah, they were there the year I went also.
Yep. So it's always a great time, and we raise a lot of money, because one day, and we hope that it's soon, that nobody ever has to hear the words, you have cancer. I've been hearing from so many people. My good friend Kelly, her brother-in-law has been going through some testing, and we're waiting to hear back to see if he has cancer. And I'm hoping and praying that he does not, and that it's something that his family will be able to get taken care of here pretty soon. And when you get that diagnosis, it's absolutely devastating. It's just devastating. Also had a school talk, Colvin Elementary School. I've been invited back to Colvin Elementary quite a few times. I'll go inside into the gymnasium. We'll talk about severe weather preparedness, what to do, where to go, what to grab, and then we'll take it outside to take a look at Storm Tracker 3. And of course, on this day, it was nice and warm compared to today, as cold as it is. And then I was invited up to Moundridge. They had their annual meeting for the Chamber of Commerce, and I was able to give the keynote speech that evening talking about the tornadoes that we've had here in Kansas and the weather enterprise, how we've been able to build that partnership from broadcasting to the National Weather Service to the private sector, how tornado warnings came to be, and what we've learned from all of the tornadoes that dated all the way back to the 1950s, and also how radar technology has also improved over the decades from the 50s to the present time. And then last Friday, it was my honor to be the MC of Winter Wonderland at Navsker Park, being able to light the Christmas tree and to welcome in Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. And my good friend Crystal Sherrill, who used to work at KSN, she was out there. It's always a joy to see Crystal. She was along the parade route when we were in the Veterans Day parade. She came out with her husband and her daughters and her son, and always great to see them, and also all the wonderful people too. And yes, I was able to see the Grinch. Anytime you run into the Grinch,
You gotta say hi.
you have to say hi and wait for the insults.
He is really good at that. It's his specialty, I would say.
It is, absolutely. And our specialty, of course, here being weather, please know that we're going to be here for you around the clock, morning, noon, and night, 365 days a year. We're finished with Thanksgiving. We're now in the holiday spirit. We have Hanukkah that's coming up here soon. We also have Christmas Day. Then we have New Year's Day. And everybody's so busy gathering those last presents, having get-togethers, having all these different parties. We know that we're, the reason for the season.
Yeah.
And we also know what we do is so important to you at home, and we'll continue to keep you safe right here on KSN.
Yep, the hustle and bustle of the holidays.
Stay connected with us on air and online at ksn.com. We'll be on tonight after the Chiefs game. The Chiefs right here on KSN. And also, looking ahead to this week, we'll have our latest news, weather and sports. We have Michael, who's going to be talking, and Asia about the Chiefs game, because everybody's hoping that the Chiefs will make it to the playoffs. So let's hope for a win tonight here on KSN, and we'll see you after the game on KSN News 3 at 10. Take care.